Thank you again for choosing the Gossip Goalpost. This is the podcast where football meets banter. Without further ado, let's get this ball rolling. Alright, welcome back. As usual, welcome back. Well, we got a lot of things to talk about today. Whole heap of something. We got a lot of things to talk about, and we're gonna be touching on Premier League. As you know, that is our league. We owns it, right? Yeah. So we kick off this episode by talking about the one and only Chelsea. Of course, Chelsea gonna be the first team I talk about. No bias, but you don't know the thing, go right? Yeah, man. Alright, Chelsea will beat West Ham. All of the off and puff West Ham. Bop, bop, bop. Down the barrel. Yeah, Chelsea came from behind to beat West Ham 3-2. It wasn't a convincing victory, but it was a great performance. We showed excellent spirit in the second half. I'm always wondering what happened to the first half. Why we not playing football in the first half? And we conceded 2 more goals, which it seems like it's a trend. It is very alarming for us to be conceding so many goals in so many matches. We need clean states. We need, clean shape, man. Just need to win. We want to make sure that, we're not conceding. So we need to dominate on all aspect of those games when we're playing, especially those little teams. You know what I mean? Yeah, those little teams. But nevertheless, we get the victory. 2-1. João Pedro once again came to our rescue. You know what I mean? He gave us nice goals, man. And what would we do? What would we do without João Pedro? Very, 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 very good goal. Cucurella also get a goal, because Cucurella didn't start it, João Pedro didn't start it, Lamb started the game, and Lamb is just like a rugby player, man. He's not producing. He only scored 1 goal for Chelsea so far. He's not producing. And, you leave the debate to say, hey, we get rid of Nicholas Jackson to bring in Lamb, and Lamb is not producing at all. Nico was doing way better, I must say. For real, I wasn't one of the ones who wanted Nico out. I just needed him to improve. I didn't want him out. Because, I think he's a very good player for us. Because Lamb is proven not to be the one at all. So he get the start. He didn't do nothing. We were 2 down. João Pedro came on the second half. And, he get us the equalizer goal. Cucurella with that awesome header. Almost lose his nose. But it was a very good win for us. We needed that. And then the last in the extra time, the last goal by Enzo Fernandez was a very, very good goal also, man. And as I said, we needed that win to remain top 4 contenders. You know what I mean? So that was a very good win for us. At the end, there was a fight by this Muslim man Hado like they made a difficult play wrestling and come out of football. He fast still, skill, but he fast. And in fast for a big man, I see boy he grab after João Pedro and João Pedro slipped. Because if he did ever get a grip of João Pedro, he would have probably break him like egg. Crack him! But João Pedro get out of his hand and you see how he choke Cucurella like a little puppy. You know what I mean? And then that little dummy came around and grabbed João Pedro by the neck, almost choke him to death. So he should have get like 5 red cards for that. He's supposed to be more than 1 red card given. Because that guy slapped Palmer in the play. Bam! He bitch backs Palmer. Oh my goodness. He didn't even get a card for that. And that was blatant. But anyway, we came away with the victory. We needed that. And that leaves us in 5th. Just 1 point behind Manchester United. And 1 point ahead of Liverpool. So it is very, very, very tight searching for top 4. You know what I mean? And speaking of Liverpool, as I said, we are 1 point above Liverpool. Liverpool humble Newcastle. Newcastle flying high and Liverpool also clip their wings. Liverpool, ups, down, but you can't take away from them that they are a very good unit. No, they're not a good unit. They are very good individual players. Let's say that. Yeah. So after Liverpool started that game, Liverpool wasn't on the upside. They didn't start that game bright at all. 30 minutes in, they were like on the back foot. Anthony Gordon get that goal. Anthony Gordon is a very good player. And I think Anthony Gordon probably need a different team. Why would I say that after I bash Alexander Isak so much? but yeah, Anthony Gordon scored that goal and put Liverpool more in the hole. But they prevail. Etiquette deliver again. 2 goals in like 2 minutes and put Liverpool back up in front before the half end. And that leads to say like Etiquette is firing. Like when Isaac comes back, what are you gonna do with Etiquette and what are you gonna do with Isaac? Because you pay $100 and something million for Isaac, you got Etiquette who's firing. What are you gonna do? Put Etiquette on the bench and play Isaac? I mean, I know how Liverpool gonna start that out, but they put themselves into that mess. But Etiquette is firing, and I feel like with Etiquette, Liverpool didn't really need Alexander Isak. But then again, who to tell you? They didn't know at the beginning of the season if Etiquette was gonna flop or what. But coming in, he was a very productive player, and that is the reason why they went and get him. So they know that he can deliver. They know that Isak can deliver. But having both of them, it proves out to be not very good business. You know what I mean? Wirtz also get his goal. He's finding his foot slowly but surely, and we know how deadly he can be. So he's picking up a steam. He's scoring week in, week out. 1 goal here, 1 goal there. He's kind of finding his foot, and that can be very, very scary. Konate father had passed away, and he scored a goal in extra time, and I know you are supposed to see the celebration. I'm going to be posting pictures of it right here. So he did a very emotional celebration, in honor of his dad. So congratulations again to Liverpool, and let's see if they continue to pick up and continue on this trend. So let's see. Arsenal also show a force in their game. They show dominance. Arsenal kind of showing us why everyone is saying that, except, well, not everyone, because Chelsea fans don't think Manchester United. A lot of people fans don't think that Arsenal are good enough to win the Premier League. Are they going to win the Premier League this season? But Arsenal are showing us the reason why they should win the Premier League. They dominate that game. They did. They surely dominate that game. Leading up to the warm-up, Bukayo Saka get injured. So he was actually officially listed in the starting 11. Of course, if Saka is fit, Saka going to be in the starting 11 because that's their prize boy. But then he get injured during the warm-up, and that leaves Madueke to get called up instantly. And of course, Madueke came on and he made a big impact on the game. He had 2 assists. He have I think all his dribbles were successful dribbles. Yeah, he was causing havoc, and of course that's Chelsea product right there. But you know what I mean. But he was looking good in that game, and Arsenal came away with the victory. Gyökeres scores again. We need to put a leash on that guy because we don't want him to get away either. We don't want him to be scoring week in and week out either. You know what I mean? Because you know what I mean. He got the ability to do. So we gotta, the defenders gotta put a hold on him. The own goal that kicked it off, and that was caused by Madueke. Cross into the box. No, I think it came from a corner. I should say. Yeah. But, fun fact, the leading scorer for Arsenal this season so far is own goal. Yay! That player own goal got a special place in Arsenal team. And yeah, they're leading the pack right now. Own goals. Yeah. Number 36. But Leeds was a flying high team. Like Leeds causing a lot of problems in the Premier League. But Arsenal kind of humbled them, let them know that, hey, Leeds, you are not leading the big gunners here. So Leeds still sitting nice above relegation, because I don't think Leeds deserve to be relegated. They bring spice into the Premier League this season. They're feisty, man. They're causing a lot of problems. So they are still in good stands. And the Leeds hasn't beaten Arsenal in forever. In decades, Leeds hasn't beat Arsenal at their home. So very good win for Arsenal. Congratulations. And with that, they are sitting they got a nice little lead at the top. So let's see where that goes from there. Alright, we touching on Manchester United. Manchester United astonishing win against a flying Fulham. Yeah, Manchester United overcome Fulham and they are on a very good run. Very, very good run. And Manchester United has lost to Arsenal in the league in 2 years now. So it was kind of an expected win on Manchester United fans' behalf. But knowing Fulham, the good team that they are, we expected a great match, and we sure did get an excellent match. We sure do. Fulham take the game to Manchester United, man. When I said take the game, to be honest, they didn't really dominate the game. It was an even Steven game. Fulham was just a little bit ahead on various areas. You know what I mean? Possession wise, shot on goals wise, and all that stuff. Accuracy wise, just by slim margin. So it was an even Steven game. Manchester United took the lead 2-0 up at halftime. Casemiro with an excellent performance, man. And Manchester United was in the driver's seat. And I was saying that, man, all Fulham need is a goal to cause chaos. And they do get that goal. And it was a penalty. Converted, man. And then all hell break loose from that penalty. Fulham was coming and, and coming and applying a little pressure. Because Manchester United kind of get into a little defensive mood because they're trying to see the game out, managing the game and so forth. But Fulham was just applying the pressure. And eventually they get their reward. They get their equalizer goal in the 90-something minute in extra time. And when they get their equalizer goal, I was like, yeah, that's it. This is a draw game. Fulham deserve a point. And that is very good for us, Chelsea. Only to know that Benjamin Sesko radam right after the game restart, after 5-minute celebration by the Fulham players. The game restart and then the ball end up in the back of the Fulham net. How did that happen? I turned my head like that. I turned so I heard celebration. I was like, what in the Ocho Cinco is going on? Yeah. Manchester United came away with that victory, man, and they are sitting fourth. So, very good win for them, I would say. But it's not a win that I am celebrating. You know what I mean? I am not celebrating that win because, Manchester United, they feel like they're on top of the world now because they are unbeaten in 3 league games. And in all honesty, they beat top teams they beat Manchester City and they beat Arsenal. So, they are flying high. This was the closest they came to a defeat since Garrick, So they are flying high. And let's see where this victory take them. You know the thing go. Alright, moving down to Aston Villa. Aston Villa. They lose out to 10-man Brentford. Wow, that is embarrassing. Aston Villa do get a chance to maintain their stand in the top 3. Should have extended their lead on second and third and fourth and fifth place. But instead, Aston Villa dropped the catch. Aston Villa dominate every aspect of the game except the final result. Yeah, the final result was against Aston Villa 1-0. And it was against 10 men. I don't know how did that happen, but remarkable. Brentford had one shot on goal, and it's the one goal that scored. Wow, that's a great stats right there. So I don't know what Aston Villa is doing, man, because they dropped the catch. They dropped the catch, and now they a little bit more behind because they dropped 3 points, so they are behind. They are only 1 point, as I said, 1 point. So I told you all, I don't think Aston Villa are going to finish in the top four. I don't think so. And the pressure going to be mounting because they're not far away from everybody else. You know what I mean? So Brentford is a little problem team, but after they scored that one goal, man, Brentford defend their life out. They defend, and they defend. Aston Villa also get a goal chopped off because they thought they equalized and so forth and so on. All of them may have and back out. And but it wasn't to be. The goal was chopped off, and it leading to controversy because they're going to be talking and say that that's a goal, that's a goal, that's a goal, that's a goal. But at the end of the day, it wasn't a goal. It wasn't given. So they do open up a can of worm and inviting Manchester United, they inviting Chelsea, and they invited Liverpool to run them down and take over and finish in the top four, kick them out and push them into Europa where they belong. Yeah, let them go down. Alright, so after we talk about Aston Villa, now we're going to be touching on Manchester City. Manchester City also, wow. I don't know. I think that Manchester City and Arteta, they are friends. So Pep and Arteta, they are friends. Pep know that if Arteta don't win the Premier League this season, he's gonna get fired, right? So Pep is trying his very best to preserve Arteta's job. That's all I can say. Yo, Manchester City 2-0 up against Tottenham. A squad that is unlike Manchester City, man. That is very, very unlike Manchester City. Tottenham came back, Solanke scored 2 goals, and Tottenham get the draw. I mean, Tottenham came out good in the second half, and to be honest, I mean, it wasn't a game where Manchester City grabbed Tottenham by the throat and be like, that's it, I'm not letting you go. They invite Tottenham. They open up the door and invite pressure from Tottenham. And Tottenham do bring the game to them. Even though the stat shows where, Manchester City dominate by possession-wise, that's City. But Tottenham was just as deadly as how Manchester City are in the second half. They came out and they firing. So, and Tottenham, I don't know how Tottenham, something ain't right, man. Because Tottenham is creeping up. Tottenham is in Champions League, finishing the top 8. I think they finished 4th or something like that. And now they're in the league. I don't understand. Tottenham performance has stressed me out and got me a wonder. How is Tottenham in these positions and how did they get there? Because, I see Tottenham win Premier League week in and week out. But their presence is still relevant. They're still there. I don't know. Tottenham puzzle me. Tottenham is puzzling me. But the truth of the matter is that Tottenham and Manchester City, they always bring good game. Tottenham always give a good fight against Manchester City. Sometimes Tottenham is 3-0 up and then they end up lose the game 4-3 or something like that. So yeah, it's always expected that Tottenham Manchester City, but Manchester City is the most dominant force, and we expected them to win based on the position that they are in right now. We expected them to win this game. So now it's only 6 points. It's 6 points between them and Arsenal, which should have been 4 points. You know what I mean? But 6 points is still not bad. We still got a little way to go, and hopefully they can run them down, man, because Arsenal is not good enough to win the Premier League. We want their drought to continue. Alright, before we wrap this up, we're going to be just touching briefly on other things that's going around in football. Well, first we have big games next week where we got, I think, Man City going to be playing Liverpool. That should be the game of the weekend. And we also got Manchester United versus Tottenham. And we're going to really see who is in the driver's seat, who is in form and who is not, who is on a wave or who is not. Because Tottenham seems like they're on a wave, which we can't really see. But we are seeing Manchester United wave. So let's see who is really on a wave next week. City, Liverpool, and Man U, Tottenham game. Those are the two biggest games of the weekend, to be honest. Over in Bundesliga, Bayern drop point again. This is their second game that they drop point. Harry Kane score, Luis Diaz score, but that wasn't good enough for them to hold out and get the victory. Anyhow, they are still sitting handsomely at the top above Dortmund. Some are very, very good distance, and Dortmund do win their game today, but they're still far behind Bayern. Over in La Liga, we touch on Barca, and Barca won their game handsomely. Lamine Yamal score, and Barca maintained their lead by just 1 point ahead of the Real Madrid. Talking about Real Madrid is second, as I said. They won their game in very, very controversial way. Mbappe scored a penalty in extra time, which, I always said this now, man. Like, Real Madrid, no, it doesn't matter how much Mbappe want to score. It doesn't matter how much they want to score. They're still not putting games away. You know what I mean? Real Madrid is still struggling, even though they're winning. But it's struggling win. You know what I mean? So they find a way to win that game and Mbappe penalty. So they're sitting only 1 point behind Barca, and there's no daylight between first and second right there, as you can see. One slip up by Barcelona, Real Madrid take the lead, and one slip up by Barcelona, Real Madrid, gone. I mean, Barcelona gone. So it's so tight in La Liga between those two. So just remember, Vinny, the door is open and Chelsea awaits you. Can you imagine Vinny Jr. in a blue shirt? Yeah, man. You see? So, just quick before I wrap this up, also Lens is putting the pressure on PSG in League One. So PSG is not running away with the title this season. There's a little bit of pressure on their neck. So let's see if somebody else can win this league, because the league is not very attractive or very nice, because PSG is always winning. PSG is always the dominant force in there. So somebody else is stepping up. Let's see if Lens can take this season. Okay, we come to the end of this episode of the podcast. There's a lot that we talked about. There was still a lot to talk about, but we don't want to make it too long, right? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow the movement at Gossip Goalpost. What are you waiting on? Gossip Goalpost, the podcast where football meet banter. Again, I'm your host, Alton. Until next time, peace.